Welcome back to Empowerment and Illness. This is our third season. Last week, we heard part one of Love and Strength, Alyssa and AB's story. Let's continue with part two, already in progress.
So you find out, and then now you have to tell friends and family.
Exactly.
So what was,
well, the first person that I wanted to tell naturally was my mom. She had been following along with the symptoms I was experiencing, and I called her, and my mom's a very strong woman. She always has been, and she kind of just said, I knew it. I had a gut feeling. I'm so sorry. What are we doing next?
And also to preface that, she had just found out a couple weeks before that her mother had breast cancer.
Yeah. So I really felt for my mom in that moment, a couple weeks prior finding out about her mom being diagnosed with breast cancer, then a couple weeks later finding out about her daughter. It's like your mother and your child, that's a lot. And I really hated having to even give her that news.
yeah.
Of course, everyone puts on an exterior, but
Yeah.
she took it like a champ. She's been there every day for Alyssa's journey. She calls her every day, even though, she called her every day before.
Yeah.
But she calls her every day without fail. If she doesn't, I ask. I'm like, hey, did your mom call you? Is she okay? You should call you and check on her. Yeah, we decided collectively that, because we're usually pretty private people.
When it comes to difficulties, stresses of life.
Yeah, we're one of those struggle in silence type of folks. So, we kind of talked about it and decided that this was something that we needed a tribe for. We would need the prayers, the thoughts, the whatever religion or spiritualness that our friends ascribe to. We would need that energy to get through this. So first we told our closest loved ones. Both of our immediate families, they live in the areas around us, but we called up Alyssa's family first. Did we text them about it or told them to come over? Either way, they came over that night or the night after.
My family, I had told my mom immediately on the phone. I think I told my sister through text because I knew for her it would be a little harder.
I think we texted everybody and then they came over that night. We told our son.
No, I think you're thinking about whenever I was diagnosed stage 4. That's when everyone came over.
Is that when?
And for our son, right after receiving the news, actually, it was around 2 o'clock, and we had to go pick him up at 2:40. And typically only one of us goes and picks him up, but that day we were both just not wanting to leave each other's side.
It was actually literally, we got off the call, we took 2 minutes, maybe 5, and we're like, oh, well, it's time to go pick up our kid. Gotta put on our, our big boy and big girl britches, and we're both red in the face, puffy-eyed. We're like, we're gonna know.
I really thought he was going to know, and I tried to look away from him. I thought he would catch on because there was 2 of us picking him up versus 1, and we decided to not tell him immediately. I think we either waited till that night or the next day.
Yeah, I think it was that night because we had already decided we wanted to tell the family. I wanted Alyssa to be surrounded in love. We're not very big on hiding things from our son. A precarious balance between sheltering our kids, but also giving them enough information to where they're not really too innocent for the world or just too blinded. And so we also didn't want, like I said, we're close to our family. We talk to our family a lot. We didn't want her sister and our brother-in-law, they have 2 children. One of them is 2 years younger than RJ. We didn't want him texting him. Being like, your mom has cancer, are you okay? And our kid being like, what? It was probably honestly one of my most difficult moments as a parent, feeling something so emotionally and then having to turn around and put on this face for our kid that everything was okay. I look back at the time that I've been a parent in his life, and that was probably the hardest moment to, kind of just want him to live in that bubble of everything's still okay.
And I do want to thank you for taking on that conversation because it was heavy news, and as a mother and the one being diagnosed, I don't know how I would have been able to get the words out, but you were there for me and for him, and just made it a really nice conversation of this is where we're at, this is the plan going forward, do you have any questions? And it really helped me a lot in that moment.
Yeah, and it was hard because I mean they're already at at a teenagers are already kind of difficult as far as their emotions go. When he's emotional as well, he kind of retreats into himself. We're kind of big on, we're an open book. We'll talk. We try not to push him though. You know, yeah, we try to respect his boundaries. And so, trying to ask questions while also trying to respect that he's not ready to talk yet or what have you. So it was hard, we're telling him and we're like, okay, you have any questions or anything? Say, are you okay? Okay.
You could see like tears filling the eyes. Are you sure you're okay? Yep, I'm okay.
And I think his only question later was like, okay, so what happens now? And it's hard as a parent. Our kids think we have all the answers. Our kids think we know everything. And while we tell them all the time, we don't know everything. We can find out together though, or what have you. But it was hard to tell him like, yeah, I have no clue, kid. I don't know what's about to happen.
Right.
And I think that was one of the things even through the journey. Like he expressed, like, I feel like y'all are hiding things from me. I feel like I'm in the dark. And we're like, no, like you know what we know. Trust me.
We're in the dark just as much as you are. Right now, this is where we're at. It's chemo every 2 weeks. We don't have a change in the plan. That's just going forward until further notice. And yeah, that's it. That's all we got.
So what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, Alyssa, physically and emotionally?
A lot. Physically, I am a lot weaker than what I was prior. Like AB shared before, we were very active. We did CrossFit. We did a lot of weightlifting just to try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I was really big on trying to build muscle for myself. And now that muscle has depleted and I don't have control of that. So that's a little frustrating. There were times where I was going through chemo and I was not able to do normal things for myself. I, at one point, had to ask AB to feed me because I couldn't grab a fork. I tried and I couldn't grab it. And it was so hard just to ask him to do that for me. But then as he was feeding me, I just felt so helpless in that moment. I felt like a burden. And it really just affected me emotionally that I wasn't able to do something so simple. Even though it was just temporary, it really hurt. So just going through things like that, having a lot of my independence taken away, that's been rough.
Yeah, if I get an opinion, I think that would be, because she is a very independent woman. Even with us being married, she is definitely that type. Like, if she said take the trash out, I got about 5 to 10 minutes to take it out, or she's gonna take it out herself. She raised a child from birth to 6, 7 years old by herself, no help, just figuring it out on her own. And that's the type of strength that unless you're a parent who's done that, you're not going to get it. You're not going to understand it, and the type of strength that takes at 18 to figure out, okay, I have a kid now. How am I going to do this? And she definitely rose to the challenge. That's always been my biggest admiration that I have of her. I don't know how one does it, especially that young. I think about the fact that we have a 5-year age gap, and I'm at 18, I was running around the streets, I was in the clubs, I was just having the time of my life. Well, the time of my life that I could conceive at that moment, because having a family has been the time of my life now. Yeah, no, so her independence, I know that's something she definitely struggled in, and I remember the moment that she's talking about when, she asked me to feed her. I mean, I'm feeding her and she's just crying, and I've never felt so useless. I mean, the entire journey I felt useless, but I didn't know how to console her or help her besides, just keep feeding her. But
it's pretty funny thinking back on it now. Just imagine you feeding me as I'm crying.
Yeah,
a baby.
Yeah. I was just okay, and I just remember, I just felt like you're not a burden. This is okay. I'd love to do this for you. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for her is just her independence. Having to help her use the restroom. She can still wipe her own butt though, so that's good.
Yeah. After the big surgery, I was not able to sit down and stand up by myself for a couple of days. So I just needed help lowering and not using my abdominal muscles.
Yeah. But I'm not that. I do it. She's the only person I probably would besides like a baby. But I tell my parents all the time, when it comes to that time, we're gonna have to hire somebody because I'm not doing that. I love you to death, but no butt wiping here. No, and Alyssa knows because we have a bunch of nieces and nephews, and I always tell her, even like right now, we have one where sometimes she'll wipe, sometimes she won't. Apparently, one time she was calling for me, I didn't hear her. And Alyssa came back in the house and she was like, she was calling for you. I was like, oh, what does she need? She was like, to wipe her. And I was like, oh, good thing you're here. Because once they start eating real food, it's over. Nope, you got to figure this out. Those diapers get too stinky.
The thing that drew me to Alyssa, because I'm scrolling through TikTok. I do that a lot, right? Up in the middle of the night, just scrolling through. And I heard her laughing. And at the bottom, it said stage 4 cancer. And then I stopped and I was just listening to her. And she was talking to you. You were in the background. You don't want to be seen. So
I'm about behind the scener.
So the more that she was talking, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I clicked on it. And I'm like, okay, she has stage 4. And she's smiling and she's laughing. And then the more I listen to you, you have one of the most inspiring spirits. You were just like, yeah, I mean, what else can you do?
That's what I take.
I wanted to follow you instantly then because we go through, because like I mentioned to you before, I have lupus, and so my immune system attacks my body. We go through something. You're in the hospital. You're going through all kind of doctor visits and medication, and you're sick all the time, and you got this fatigue that just won't go away. And so you're doing all of that. And most people get down and depressed. And then you just like, okay, oh well, what else can I do? What keeps you like that? What makes you stay positive and motivated?
A couple of things. I would definitely say my reason why is my family. I want to be here for them. And I know that it's important for me to keep fighting to be here for them. No matter how hard things get, if I give up, I'm essentially giving up on them. Like I want to be here for them. So yeah, I have to fight. I have to push for more answers. I have to push for more treatment. I have to ask, what else can we do? And knowing that if the body is in a constant state of stress, how that can affect my immune system, I just think, I'm entitled to feel the feelings that I feel because none of this is easy, but I don't want to stay in that state of anxiety, stress, or depression because I don't want to make it even harder for my body to fight this. It's already tough enough, and, the odds aren't super great, but if I were to weaken my immune system by staying in that state, that's not going to help. So what can I do to help? It's a lot of self-soothing, doing things that bring me back to happiness, spending time with my family, going outdoors, faith and spirituality. I listen to worship music. I know I get a lot of anxiety when I'm going in for a big procedure or going in to find out the results from something because I never know how it's going to go. So in those times, I really do like to listen to the worship music, pray, hold my spouse's hand, and it just brings me back to that calm of, okay, we're going in. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to do it. And right now, all we can do is just take care of ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard sometimes.
It definitely is. I think about it. We talked about this a lot recently, how it essentially feels like I'm waking up every day facing death. And it's hard to wake up and know, like, this is still the reality. This is still where I'm at. And then to continue on with my day and be a mom, be a spouse, be a friend, you have to really, like, push yourself because you can't just stay in that state of depression of, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm facing. It's okay, but I want to live. I want to be here. So I am going to live. I am going to create these memories.
Yeah, and I think added in, especially like just external, factors, the state of our, the state of our government, the state of our economy, like she said, waking up facing that every day and just doing the regular mundane things of life. We just took like a little mini vacay in the summer. Before that, we hadn't taken a vacation in like 3 years, maybe longer than that. Part of it, albeit our fault, like I said, we went through at least a year or two of being workaholics. But it's like you're facing this sentence. You don't know when the time's gonna be, but we're just gonna go and do the regular mundane things of life. We can't take advantage of life because we need to be smart financially. Kind of, especially for me in my position, I'm very much like
money comes and goes.
And money does come and go.
Right.
But I try not to stress about it anymore because as angry as I can be, we consider ourselves to be more spiritualists. So we believe in God, but sometimes I'm very angry at him. But I'm trying to have faith, that he will provide. And I know he can only provide if you help yourself, for sure. But I'm just kind of like, money comes and goes. We'll find more of it somewhere. It'll come from somewhere. There's got to be like, a little thing every day to make her happy. Except, sometimes we don't. Even if it's like a Starbucks coffee,
Yeah, just having a coffee that brings me joy for the day.
Going to the Target or the CVS or whatever, and she gets a little, what's it called, fingernail polish, It doesn't have to be much, but I think for me the hardest part is being like, we want to make more experiences, we want to, do more things with the family, make more memories, but we can't.
There's a financial stress, and cancer is expensive, and the economy, like everything's expensive right now, so adding cancer on top of that is just, it's a lot. It's hard to plan these trips.
And we are more blessed than most, I will say that, and I do recognize that.
Right.
But yeah, I do remember, not my first thought, but one of my first thoughts when we got the call and they told us she had cancer. I was like, this is one of the most expensive diseases you could have gotten.
You're like, thanks.
I'm like, most people, I think all of us kind of like realize cancer is one of the most expensive diseases out there. Like, it just feels sometimes like there's no end to it. You're probably for the rest of your life going to be having checkups of some kind, scans, blood tests. It doesn't end. It doesn't matter if you go into remission. It doesn't matter if you have no evidence of disease. You're still going to be spending money making sure, probably multiple times a year, that it's not in your body at the moment. And I think that was also one of my fears when we started learning more about everything. And we're like, okay, once you got stage 4, they're like, there is no cure, but we can get you to no evidence of disease. That could be a possibility. I honestly think that was more scary for me than not knowing at all where the cancer is. Because I just felt like for the rest of our lives, we're going to have this shadow over our head.
Right, where it may still be in the body, but so small that we can't detect it.
Right.
But it's still there, and it could grow at some point.
Right. Because I feel like most people that are, even myself, like I've just lived with this air of my body's healthy, nothing's wrong with me. You just go through life kind of just, besides colds, illnesses, like, flu, stuff like that, we're just kind of like, floating through life. But with someone with, these life-altering diseases or, cancer, stuff like that, it's like this hangs over your life for the rest of your life. Whether you get to remission or no evidence of disease, I'm realizing that that's still a cloud that's going to be over you. Like, what if it comes back?
Right.
How does one live like that? How do you live the rest of your life? Just, you could be with friends or family, smiling and laughing, and then an instant you think about, like, what if it's back?
Right.
You have a little pain somewhere, and it's like, is it cancer? Did it come back?
Exactly.
And I know that, especially for us right now, like, we haven't gotten to the no evidence of disease. They know the cancer somewhere, they don't know where it is. And I know that that's something that we're struggling with, she's struggling with.
Yeah.
Because, she feels a certain way or something happens or she has a pain and she's like, is that it? Is that where it is?
Right.
Did it spread here?
That's definitely what I'm feeling, because I know when they first said, okay, it's in your body, but we're going to monitor until we can really find out where it's at, know what we're dealing with, and then we'll put you back on chemo. I said, okay, that's a little stressful, but okay. And then I thought, you know what? Let's enjoy this time of no chemo. Let's go out and make memories. But then after about 1 month of that, I lost a lot of weight. my fatigue got worse, and I'm like, oh wow, these are the symptoms I was experiencing right before I was diagnosed. Does this mean it's spreading more? Like, is it progressing?
And that was, again, a hard time because now she has her stomach out. So we already knew she would undergo changes.
Right.
I was a lot more optimistic because, my wife is different. She's very headstrong. Like, she's very independent. She's a warrior. I was like, they say that people lose a lot of weight, but I was like, yeah, but not to say that other people don't work out, but, my wife works out. For her small little stature, she lifts a lot of weight. It's impressive. Not to the faith is lost, because we're not doing worse. We haven't been going to the gym, but she did lose a lot of weight. The fatigue, because, there's times that, she'll take B12 shots that'll help with her energy. Those things do nothing. I don't even know why we're paying for them.
Right, yeah.
Because she gets like a day of energy and then nothing. And we thought it was because we learned that we were doing the shot wrong. I did the shot wrong. I didn't give her enough. Because the first time she got it, she got maybe 3-4 days of energy. And then they were like, oh yeah, you got to take like a whole syringe vial. And we're like, oh, okay, that's what we did wrong, right? Now she'll last the whole month like she's supposed to. That time it lasted maybe 2 days. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so now I've kind of got it in my head, maybe we should try just a little bit every 2 days. Maybe we can do it like that.
A little boost of energy every couple days.
Yeah. I think we're back in the position where it's like, it's hard, like listen to your body, but at the same time, like the body's different now. You're also new to this.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of listening to the doctors, and that's a hard position. Like, again, like big proprietors of listening to your body, like you're the one that lived in it. But then when your body changes,
you don't even know that body.
Yeah, now you don't even know your body. How do you?
And learn this new body.
Yeah. So how do you, navigate that? So that it's a hard position, honestly, to be in.
You have been supportive. Thing that you've said has really been seriously supportive of her. What advice would you give to someone whose partner is going through something similar to this?
Take them serious, more serious. Again, I like to think I took her serious. I feel like I was supportive, like, yeah, let's go to the doctor. Yeah, keep finding the answer. Yeah, drink the mushroom coffee. But listening to them, asking more questions, asking what they need, because you don't realize how, we have these sayings, when people are going through you're so strong, like these type of sayings. For certain groups, it becomes almost honestly kind of annoying. They don't have a choice but to be strong. The moment they stop being strong is the moment that they're dead. Even if they're laying in the bed every day, trying to find the strength to go to the restroom, like, that's strength. They're strong. They're fighting it. They're there another day. So really just asking your spouse what way you can best just support them. What do they need? It could be as easy as, my wife likes for me to make her coffee in the morning. I'll be honest, I don't make it every morning, but that's something that she really loves. A cup of coffee in the morning with a little note on a sticky note, just something. And again, every day is nice, but it doesn't have to be every day. Just something that makes them smile. I think I go for that a lot of the time. Just something to make her smile, something small. I really struggle with finding things that don't cost money. I don't know why, because it's not my love language, it's not her love language, but I like to spend money to make her smile. And so for me, finding ideas, finding dates and stuff that don't cost anything can be a little difficult, but doing stuff like that, doing something to look forward to, we both agree and find that life can be more enjoyable when you have something in the future to look forward to. Something with a date, not something that like, oh, one day we want to do this. Something like, this day we're going to go do this. We're going to do something together. We're going to experience something. Don't stop living life just because of this diagnosis. Because at the end of the day, you have to have something worth fighting for. If there's not a life ahead of you to fight for, why would you want to fight, And being more selfless. I can be a selfish person. And I think even looking back, that's something that I regret. I was still pretty selfish in moments. And so, yeah, I would say being more selfless. It's hard because you essentially become, we were already going through it in life before the diagnosis. And so it's kind of like one of those things that it's like one trouble rolled into the next, and we didn't get a break from it, right? So we honestly, at the time of her diagnosis, we were already mentally drained, we're physically drained, our mental health was just terrible. So roll from one trouble to the next, and this one is like way worse was mentally exhausting, I think, for both of us. And to even get to this point where we are now, I would say our mental health is a little bit better, but it was very hard for almost her whole journey, if we're being honest. A lot of things did fall on me. You know, I wanted to and tried to rise to the challenge. I don't think I always did a great job. I know Alyssa dotes on me a lot, but I don't always feel like I deserve that. I could have been better. We could always be better, but I feel like I could have been better. Everything falls on you. You become the butler, the soul. Like I pretty much, of course, Alyssa was there to parent, but I pretty much took over parenting RJ because also RJ is our son. It's already hard to parent a kid when you have cancer. Like you don't want to. We kind of shared the what would you call it? Like if you would get in trouble, he doesn't get in trouble often, but
The discipline.
yeah, the disciplinarian. We kind of both share that role. We don't believe in one parent being the bad guy all the time. And so we kind of shared that role, but then I kind of mainly took it over. I feel like it was hard for her to even want to. Not that we ever want to, but it was just a very hard position.
You're facing death and you don't know how much more time you have. And it's like, I want to spend all my time loving him, but I know that I still have to be a parent and I still have to discipline. And it's like, we have a teenager. There's going to be things that we have to discipline. So yeah, it's hard to just do anything like as far as discipline, because it just feels like I'd really rather just be loving on you right now. I really just rather be creating memories, and I want a majority of my moments, however long I have left, to be, you thinking about the good stuff rather than, oh my goodness, she was just on me all the time, which would be the case if I wasn't going through cancer. But yeah, just trying to find that balance.
Yeah, I think it was for both of them, not just for her, but also for him, so he didn't have any regrets looking back like, man, I was a little butthole to my mom, while she was going through this. And I told him, we had a frank conversation, and I told him, we have this saying, we expect it, but we don't accept it. So that just goes to any teenager turmoil or regular kid. Kids are going to talk back sometimes. Kids are going to have attitudes. At a certain age, you become almost designed to push back against the boundaries. That's what kids do. So, we expect it, but we don't accept it. I expect that you're going to have attitude and things of that nature sometimes, but I don't accept that. We don't accept that disrespect. So, we talked about that again. I told him, when you're feeling that way, when you want to push back, you push back against me. You want to talk back, you talk back to me, but you're not going to do that to mom right now. She doesn't deserve it. She can't, to be frank, she can't take on that stress right now. She loves you very much. You're not stressful. It's not that, but these things can bring stress to us. I'll take that on right now. So when there's turmoil going on, it's going to be me and you. And we'll just have to figure it out. And that was also definitely different for him because, again, we share that disciplinarian role. I don't come in and just take over a conversation. She's not like, oh, I'm going to tell your dad, because I'm going to try to support her. I feel like sometimes that can kind of give like oh, mom can't handle it situation. And he needs to know, any kid needs to know that both parents can take care of the situation. I think that really goes into a belief that women can't handle like not altercations, because they don't come to like that, but
disagreement.
Yeah, he needs to know. Yeah, he needs to know, and everyone needs to know that women can handle it all. Okay, Dad's not gonna come in and save the day and be the disciplinarian and blah blah blah. Like your mom can handle her own. I think the only time I really come in is when he does get sometimes. Again, it's not all the time. He's honest, a very good kid. Is when he talks back, because again, we don't do disrespect. And I tell him all the time, that's your mom. And she might have even been your mom first, but that's my wife. And no one's going to talk to my wife like that. Because at the end of the day, one day you're going to leave this house and you're going to move out. But me and mom are still going to be here, and we're still going to be together. So I have to protect my wife, because if you're disrespecting her, you're disrespecting me. And we're not going to have that either. But anyways, back to the question. I can get a little off. I think the main thing is just asking more questions, asking how you can be there for your spouse, which is really no different to how a marriage should be in general. No one's a mind reader, so making sure that you're asking so that what they need in that moment, because it can also change. Something that she needed 2 months ago, she doesn't need right now. Something that she needs right now, she might not need 4 months later. So it's just really checking in with each other and making sure that you're supporting them as best as you can in that moment. Because sometimes, I would check in and she's like, there's nothing you can really do in this moment what I'm feeling. Because I think it's especially hard for me when she's upset. I'm a very much like fix-it person. How can I fix it? What can I do? What can I do to change this circumstance? And that's very hard for me when I'm, what can I do to cheer you up? What can follow up on? When I get to nothing or just a head shake, I'm like, oh, I hate it. I mean, it's nothing that either one of us can do. It's just there's nothing humanly possible that can change it for her, and that's really hard for a spouse to see. So yeah, the main thing you can do is just ask more questions, communicate. Communication is so important through this journey. Again, that's already something that's very important in a marriage. I know everyone stresses communication, but we like to do weekly marriage meetings. We have faltered a little bit on it, but we're getting back to it. But that's a very good way, whether you're going through a life-altering disease or not, to check in your marriage. If you can't do it weekly, then bi-weekly, monthly, something, to kind of see where each of you are. And it's a way to stay tapped into your relationship. So we like to do that, ask how you are, what happened last week, is there anything I could have done, what do you need going into this week. That especially came really big while we were going through, because once we really got into her journey, I mean, we were having to go up to the doctor 5-6 days a week. On the low end, we were going at least 3 days minimum. So keeping track of all her appointments, we would have to do those meetings so that we could add them to the calendar. Especially anyone that goes to MD Anderson, they don't call you to ask you if they're okay with the date and the time they're putting for an appointment. They just put it. And if you're not okay with it, then you have to call and reschedule. But they'll just add stuff, a couple days before, and you're just expected to be there. That was very important for us to do those meetings, because it was a lot of appointments.
A lot, yeah. I mean, some weeks I would have 15 appointments in 1 week. That's insane to think about, how. But yeah, several appointments at different clinics on the same days, because they have the main campus, the Maze Clinic. You're just running all over the place trying to get all these appointments done, and it's exhausting.
So, Alyssa, what would you share just with someone who's going through something similar to what you're going through?
I'd definitely say to focus on the things that you can control. Unfortunately, cancer takes a lot from us. It takes away a lot of control, but if you focus on the things that you can control, that can still help you. Focusing on the things that you can't control, that can cause a lot of stress, which we're going to have stress, but it can keep you in that state of stress, and that doesn't really help you. Whereas, yes, you're feeling stressed, but if you do things to help you feel better, that can help you. That can help so you're not weakening your immune system. For me, I focus on my nutrition and working out because I want my body to be stronger. I go to therapy to make sure that my mental strength is there, my emotional strength is there, that I'm processing all of these things as well as I can be. Because, there are times where there's so many twists and turns throughout this journey, and certain things are going to hit harder than others, and sometimes unexpectedly. But having therapy or having people to talk to just share what you're feeling and making sure that you're processing it in a healthy manner, that can help you as well. I think it's just really important to focus on what you can do, focus on your reason why you want to fight, and focus on fighting. Going through those feelings of stress, anxiety, depression, being upset, those are valid. You're going to feel them, and allow your body to feel them, but just make sure that you're also taking care of yourself and sharing with your tribe or your caretakers, whatever you need. It is very hard to express when you need something, but you're only hurting yourself by not speaking up, because then you feel like nobody wants to help you. You feel like a burden, and that can just feed those feelings of depression. Whereas, if you ask for help and they do it for you, you feel valued, cared for, loved, and you're getting what you need to continue fighting.
Well, I want to thank both of you for telling your story. I knew, like I said before, when I saw you on TikTok, I knew this is somebody that I need to get to know. I believe in miracles. I consider myself to be a miracle. When I was 27 was when I was diagnosed. They gave me 5 years to live. It's been 31.
Wow.
So
Congratulations. That's amazing. Yeah, I've had a few, well, I say a few, exactly two, friends that their parents had lupus, and that's a hard disease. So every day you're making it, that's a miracle in itself. So yes, ma'am, you are a walking miracle.
that's why I wanted to do the podcast, because just like you, I put faith in doctors, and I thought they were doing everything that they possibly can do for me, until I learned and I started asking questions. You know, I was sitting back and then I kept meeting more people, and then I was on this chat and I heard this lady, she wrote that she has lupus, but she's been waiting to pass away. And if someone else is feeling that way, I may need to reach out and do my part, do what I can to see if I can reach out there and help someone. So that's where the podcast came in.
Well,
That's a beautiful thing.
yes, thank you so much for creating this space and for raising awareness, and you are helping others just to learn about these things. Are very difficult to navigate through, but there are ways that you can help yourself, that there are ways that others can learn how they can help someone going through something similar.
Exactly. You're dealing with cancer. I have lupus. I dealt with breast cancer. Somebody else, may have multiple sclerosis. So whatever it is, we come together because we're all trying to navigate all this sickness and illness. We're still alive. We still have thoughts and feelings, and we want to get up and go and be just as normal as the next person. So I know your smile, your attitude, it inspires me, and it's going to continue to inspire others. So I really do thank you. And then AB, you're awesome.
Yes.
You're they're laughing and keeping her upbeat. So I appreciate that. I got one too. My husband is just like you, and all the things that you were saying, you want to fight and you want to make sure that she gets a smile. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We do what we can. It's hard. Of course, it's not as hard as what y'all have to go through. I can't imagine, but it's hard to feel useless, especially when you're a fixer. It seems your husband's doing a great job also. I've watched your TikTok videos since, and you also have an aura about you. And, we enjoy and we love anyone that is a helping person.
Right.
And that's what it seems like you strive to do as well. So, yeah, creating this space that you have is a beautiful thing, giving people the chance to open up about their journey. Because just talking through it, it helps. Some people don't have access to therapy and psychiatrists, or maybe they don't have a big tribe or friend group, and so being able to be on a space where they can tell their story, that can definitely help, and people don't realize that. So thank you for creating this.
Yeah, and I tell everybody, I even say this in some of the podcasts, I'm like, this is my therapy session, so just bear with me.
Yes, exactly.
Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you reach 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when you do, it will not let go. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. Alyssa and AB, your story is incredibly inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's clear that your love and strength are unwavering, and I'm sure our listeners would take away so much from hearing your experience. Thank you all for tuning in to this heartfelt episode of Empowerment in Illness. You are not alone, and together we can navigate these challenges with strength and hope. Until next time, take care, be well, and stay empowered. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.